He cheated on me while I was in labor, now his girlfriend wants me to babysit. And no, I'm not joking. I wish I was. But this is my life. And this is how it started. It was a Thursday morning when my water broke. I was standing in the kitchen, barefoot, holding a spoonful of peanut butter, and trying to remember if I'd already fed the cat. It was 6:42 a.m. I remember because I looked at the microwave clock right before the pain kicked in. The contractions started fast and strong. I'd taken the classes, watched the videos, done the breathing exercises, but nothing prepares you for the moment your body decides, okay, we're doing this now. I called Trevor. He didn't answer on the first ring, or the second. On the third he finally picked up. His voice was low and clipped. Babe, I'm slammed. Can this wait? I've got back-to-back meetings. I was literally contracting so hard I had to press the phone against my cheek and lean over the sink. I'm in labor, Trevor. A pause. Shit, he muttered. Okay. I'll figure something out. Just head to the hospital. I'll meet you there as soon as I can. He didn't ask if I was okay. He didn't even ask how far apart the contractions were. He sounded more annoyed than alarmed. Like I'd ruined his day by going into labor. I remember thinking, isn't this his day too? I got to the hospital alone, checked in alone, was wheeled into a room alone. The nurse who helped me into the gown asked gently, "Is someone coming to be with you, honey?" I said, "My husband's on his way." It sounded ridiculous the moment it left my mouth. Labor is a weird thing. It strips you bare. Your pride, your dignity, even your sense of time. All of it melts under pain and adrenaline. I screamed. I cried. I laughed hysterically once when the doctor said, "Just one more push," for the 6th time. And through it all, no sign of Trevor. I gave birth to our son Ethan at 1:28 p.m. A nurse cleaned him off and laid him on my chest. He was so small and pink and perfect that I forgot, for just a second, that I was alone. A little while later, a nurse came in and said, "Your husband's here." Trevor walked in holding a coffee. He looked freshly showered, calm, smug, like he'd just stepped out of a lunch meeting. He leaned down, kissed my forehead and said, "You did it?" He smelled like cologne I didn't recognize. I didn't say anything right away. I just looked at him, and then at the coffee cup. It had a lipstick stain on the rim. Not mine. That moment, that exact moment, should have broken me. But it didn't. It felt like clarity. Like the second my son was born, the blindfold I'd worn for years just slipped off. Trevor smiled down at Ethan and said, "He looks like me, huh?" I smiled back, but I wasn't looking at him. I was already somewhere else in my mind, somewhere quieter, more focused, thinking about diapers, night feedings, pediatricians, thinking about how if he couldn't even handle a delivery room, how the hell was he ever going to handle fatherhood? And deep down, I already knew the answer. The night we brought Ethan home, Trevor couldn't stop smiling. To be fair, it wasn't the warm new dad smile you'd expect. It was more like the expression of someone trying to win an Oscar for Best Supporting Husband. He carried the diaper bag, posed for a selfie outside the apartment, and posted it with the caption, "Welcome home, little man." 100 likes rolled in within the hour. But by the third night, the smile disappeared. The crying started at 2:07 a.m. I was already halfway out of bed when I noticed Trevor wasn't next to me. I found him sleeping on the couch, one arm thrown over his eyes, pretending not to hear anything. "I've got it," I muttered, more to myself than him. He didn't stir. In the weeks that followed, he became a ghost with car keys. Gone before Ethan woke up, back after I'd managed to put him down. His phone was suddenly always on silent, face down, and password locked. When I asked how his day was, he answered in grunts. When I asked him to hold the baby so I could shower, he made a face like I'd handed him a live grenade. Then came the night I snapped. He came home after 11 p.m., smelling like whiskey and whatever cologne he'd started wearing that I'd definitely never bought him. "Long meeting," he said, hanging up his coat. I looked at the clock. "Until 10:45? Don't start, Rachel. You don't know how stressful work is right now." That was always his excuse. You don't know how hard it is for me, you don't get it, you're different now, and maybe I was. Maybe motherhood had made me sharper, more tired, more aware of just how much I'd carried alone. After he passed out in bed, fully clothed, shoes and all, I noticed the iPad on the kitchen counter. It was Trevor's. We'd bought it months ago for travel meetings, but he mostly used it to browse sports scores. I opened it. The screen unlocked. I blinked. He hadn't realized it was still synced to his phone. And just like that, his secrets spilled out. Text messages. Hundreds, from Cassandra. I recognized the name. She worked with him. I'd met her once at a holiday party. Tall, red hair, perfect teeth. The kind of woman who knew she was beautiful and didn't bother pretending to be humble about it. The messages weren't subtle. Can't stop thinking about your hands on me during that client dinner, LOL, she still doesn't know? Damn, you're so brave. I wish I was the one having your baby. We'd be so good at this together. The photos were worse. Bathroom selfies, lingerie shots. One of them kissing in what looked like the backseat of Trevor's car. I felt everything in me go quiet. No rage, no screaming, just stillness, like watching your house burn from the sidewalk. The next morning, I didn't confront him right away. I waited until after Ethan's bottle, after the laundry, after the morning nap. When I finally walked into the bedroom, Trevor was on his phone, scrolling like nothing had happened. I held up the iPad. Who's Cassandra, Trevor? He froze. His eyes darted to the screen, then to me. Why are you going through my stuff? Oh, I'm sorry, is that the issue here? That I found out you've been sleeping with your coworker while I was bleeding out in a delivery room? It wasn't like that, he said quickly. You don't understand? Oh, I understand plenty. I understand it started in my second trimester. I understand you were sexting her while I was setting up the nursery. He stood up and threw his hands in the air. God, Rachel. Do you even hear yourself? You've been impossible. You stopped being you. Everything became about the baby, the house, your checklists. There was no room left for me. I stared at him. You cheated on me because I was nesting? He stepped back like my calmness scared him more than yelling would have. I needed something that felt good, he said. Something that felt like freedom. With her, I could breathe again. Funny, I said, setting the iPad on the dresser, because with you, I felt like I was suffocating. He didn't apologize, not once. Instead, he packed a bag that night and mumbled something about needing space. He didn't take Ethan's car seat, didn't even kiss him goodbye, and just like that, he was gone. And somehow, I was still the one left behind to clean up the mess. It took exactly 1 week for Trevor to go from needing space to Instagram official with Cassandra. I didn't follow him, I couldn't stomach it, but people talk, especially our mutual friends who suddenly didn't know whose side to be on. One of them sent me a screenshot. There they were, Trevor in a fitted polo, Cassandra in a sundress, holding 2 iced coffees and a French bulldog. The caption read, Sunday reset with my favorite human # new beginnings. New beginnings. Meanwhile, I hadn't showered in 3 days, and Ethan had just spit up down my bra. Motherhood, it turns out, doesn't come with a manual. It comes with leaky boobs, sleep-deprived hallucinations, and a baby who screams like he's being exercised anytime you put him down for more than 3 seconds. The nights were the worst. He'd wake up at 1:23 a.m., then 3:17, then 4:45, just for fun. There were times I stood by the crib, rocking him with tears streaming down my face, whispering, Please, baby, please, like some desperate prayer. Sometimes, he'd finally sleep. Sometimes we both just cried. One night I was trying to soak a blood-streaked swaddle in the sink. His umbilical stump had rubbed off earlier than it should have, and there was more blood than I was ready for. It wasn't dangerous, the doctor said. But something about washing that tiny cloth, red blooming through soft cotton, broke something in me. I gripped the counter and sobbed. Not because of the blood. Not even because I was alone. I cried because I was tired. Because I missed myself. Because I missed the version of me that used to believe in romantic comedies and baby showers and we're in this together. I thought I was hiding it well, that I could fake the strong mom thing. But one afternoon, Missy from 3 Billions knocked on my door. She was in her 70s, wore orthopedic shoes with glitter socks, and smelled like gardenias and menthol. "I heard the baby," she said gently, peeking inside. "Figured you might need a sandwich. And maybe a break." I could have lied, could have said I was fine. Instead, I just said, "Thank you," and cried into a turkey on rye. Missy held Ethan like she'd done it 1,000 times, because she had. 3 kids, 8 grandkids. "He looks just like you," she said. I laughed. "Hopefully not the eye bags," she smiled, but then her face softened. "Men like that never grow up, honey," she said. "But babies do. Fast. Don't miss it." It stayed with me, what she said, through the teething, the first real giggle, the first time Ethan gripped my finger so tight I thought my heart would burst. And one morning, as the sun came through the window and he cooed at the ceiling fan like it was a Broadway show, I realized something. I was alone, but I wasn't broken. Cassandra posted a photo last Thursday. She was holding Trevor's hand across a wine bar table, one of those filtered shots where everything looked sepia-toned and expensive. Her nails were perfect, like she didn't know baby wipes existed. The caption? "Nothing like finding your true partner." I laughed, out loud. It startled Ethan, who was halfway through gnawing on a plastic giraffe. "Sorry, buddy," I said, scooping him up. "Mommy just remembered what delusion looks like." Trevor hadn't paid child support in 2 months. At first he claimed his checks were in transition after switching banks. Then it was unexpected expenses. Then just radio silence. It took me one too many nights of ramen and crying over electricity bills to realize something important: he wasn't going to help. Not unless I made him. So I hired a lawyer. Her name was Deborah, and she wore sensible heels and carried legal pads like weapons. She didn't smile much. I liked her immediately. "We're filing for formal child support," she said, clicking her pen. "He'll try to guilt you. He'll claim hardship." "Don't budge." Trevor, of course, made a scene. In court, he showed up in a blazer and self-pity. Said things like, "I'm trying to build a new life. It's been a hard transition for everyone. Why is she trying to punish me?" "Punish you? You cheated on me while I was in labor, and now you think a monthly check is punishment?" I didn't say it out loud. I didn't need to. The judge had eyes. And Deborah? She brought receipts. Literal bank statements showing Trevor had just bought Cassandra a just because diamond necklace. The ruling: he owed back pay, plus regular monthly support. He glared at me like I'd set his house on fire. I didn't care. I had bigger things to worry about, like diapers, and Ethan's new habit of licking the floor. Money was tight, so I got creative. Started taking on freelance design work during Ethan's naps. Nights, I did data entry for a startup in Oregon. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. I learned to budget down to the last cent, to meal prep, to stretch $1 like it was taffy. Slowly, our life took shape. We had routines, morning cuddles, bath time songs, walks with Missy and her ancient poodle, Larry. One night, I was up late finalizing a project, and Ethan stirred in his crib. I went to check on him, brushing his soft hair off his forehead. He blinked up at me, then smiled. That gummy, pure smile that made my entire chest ache. And in that moment, I thought, this is my real life. Not filtered Instagram fantasies. Not some half-love built on betrayal. Just me, my son, and the quiet, beautiful strength of starting over. It started with a text. "Trevor, hey, can we talk? Nothing bad, promise." The last time he messaged me out of nowhere, it was to ask if I still had the Netflix password. So when he said nothing bad, I braced for something awful. We met at a neutral place, a little downtown cafe that served overpriced herbal teas and oat milk muffins, the kind of spot where you couldn't yell without everyone staring. Smart move, Trevor. I walked in and froze. He wasn't alone. Cassandra was there, perched at a corner table like she belonged in a lifestyle blog. She had a baby in her arms, a girl, maybe 6 months old, dressed in blush pink with a matching headband. Trevor stood beside her, awkwardly shifting from foot to foot like a guilty teenager waiting for detention. "Rachel," he said, like we were old friends. "Hey. Thanks for coming." I nodded slowly, keeping my eyes on the baby. Then Cassandra smiled. "Hi. So good to see you. It's been, wow, forever, huh?" It had been exactly 1 year since he left me with our newborn, but sure, forever. They offered me a seat like this was a casual catch-up. I sat. Mostly because my legs weren't moving, probably out of shock. Trevor cleared his throat. "So, we've been thinking, never a good sign." Cassandra jumped in, all syrup and fake warmth. "You've done such an amazing job with Ethan. Seriously, we've seen pictures. He's thriving." I blinked. "Thanks," I said. "Is that why I'm here?" Trevor leaned forward. "Well, sort of. Thing is, it's been hard, adjusting. You know how it is with babies." Yes, I did," he continued, voice lowering like we were conspiring. "We were hoping maybe you could help, just occasionally. Watch Amber sometimes. You're already amazing with Ethan and it's just, you get it, right?" I stared. Cassandra gave the cherry on top. "Just from time to time, no pressure. From one mom to another, no hard feelings. We're all kind of connected now, right?" I blinked again. Harder this time. As if I could blink myself into an alternate universe where this wasn't happening. Was this a joke? Did I miss the punchline? Because what I heard was, "You raised your son alone while we played house, and now we'd like you to help raise our daughter too." The audacity wasn't even shocking, it was cinematic. Trevor looked at me like he expected me to say yes, like I should be grateful they trusted me with their baby. I let out a small laugh, quiet, sharp. "You want me," I said slowly, "to babysit the child you had with the woman you cheated on me with, while I was giving birth to ours?" Silence. Cassandra's smile faltered. Trevor opened his mouth, but I was already standing. "Thanks for the muffin," I said, even though I hadn't touched it. This conversation never happened, and I walked out, head high, heart steady. I didn't owe them a damn thing. Same cafe, same table, same ridiculous oat milk muffins. Except this time, I came back by choice. I told them I'd think about it. Babysitting, that is. I needed to say what was stuck in my throat the first time. Not for them, for me. Cassandra was already there, nursing a lukewarm latte with almond milk. She looked tired. No more curated Instagram smile. Trevor showed up 2 minutes later, like always. Just late enough to say, "Traffic." I didn't sit right away. I looked at both of them. Their child was in a carrier, asleep. And I started talking. Not because they asked, but because they needed to hear it. "Here's what I remember, Trevor." He shifted in his chair, but I didn't pause. "I remember holding my belly at 4 a.m., alone in our hallway, because the contractions were 5 minutes apart and you weren't answering your phone. I remember thinking, he's probably just asleep, he'll come. Then I remember the nurse holding my hand because you didn't. While I bled and cried and screamed our son into existence, you were, what was it? Making hotel reservations? Ordering wine service?" Cassandra opened her mouth. I held up a hand. "And the weeks after? The colic, the spit up, the cracked nipples, the 3 a.m. sobbing on the bathroom floor because I hadn't slept more than 40 minutes in 3 days? That was me." I remember sterilizing bottles with one hand while cradling a screaming newborn with the other. I remember Googling how to tell if your baby is still breathing at 2 a.m. because no one was there to ask. Trevor rubbed his temples. "Rachel, that was over a year ago. You're being dramatic. That did it." I sat, leaned in, voice low, even. "You think this is drama?" "No, Trevor. Drama is screwing your coworker while your girlfriend is giving birth alone. Drama is introducing your new baby to your ex like she's a free nanny service." Cassandra flinched. Finally, a crack in the perfect smile. "You two wanted an adult conversation? This is it. Adult life isn't just cute matching onesies and tired selfies. It's not dropping off your kid when you're overwhelmed and picking her up when she's smiling again. Being an adult means responsibility, It means staying through the mess. It means not outsourcing your choices when they get inconvenient. I stood again. No dramatics, no raised voice, just the truth. You wanted real life? Congratulations, you're in it now, and no, I will not be your plan B. Not for this. Not ever. And with that, I walked out. For the last time. When I got home that day, he was already awake from his nap, my whole heart. He reached for me with both arms and a sleepy smile like I was the sunrise, and maybe, for him, I am. We curled up on the couch, and I buried my face in his soft curls. He smelled like apples and baby shampoo and everything I fought for. There were no violins, no grand speech, just this, a quiet, breathing reminder of why I never gave up. Later that week we went to the park. He ran ahead, wobbling on chubby legs, giggling like the world belonged to him. And maybe it does. Maybe that's the point, to raise someone who believes he's safe, loved, and whole. Someone who doesn't grow up thinking love is conditional or disposable. Someone who doesn't leave when it gets hard. The sun was warm on my shoulders as I watched him chase pigeons, and then run back to me like I was his home base. Because I am. I thought about everything I'd survived. Labor, betrayal, single motherhood, late-night Google panics, bills I wasn't sure I could pay, courtrooms, condescending smirks, and that cafe conversation. I thought about Cassandra's face when the smile cracked, about Trevor's silence, about how, for the first time in over a year, I finally said what needed to be said. And I didn't cry after. I didn't shake. I just felt free. Closure isn't loud. It's not a grand finale or a slamming door. Sometimes it's a quiet afternoon in the park. A toddler's laugh. A deep breath that doesn't hurt. They thought I'd be grateful to be needed again. But I'm not their rescue team. I'm not their free labor. I'm a mom. A damn good one. And that's enough.